8 hidden psychological signs she's secretly obsessed with you female mind explained. Psychology tricks. A woman's heart speaks before her words. Have you ever looked at a woman and wondered what's really going on behind her eyes? When a woman starts to feel something strong, she often doesn't say it. She hides it, she tests it, and she lets it show through small signals that most men miss. Women don't express passion with words. They express it with subtle changes in their emotions, behavior, and gaze. Her mind is always looking for safety before admitting desire. So what she says may be the exact opposite of what she feels. When you understand how women express their emotions silently, you'll read the signs that others don't see. And that's when you realize passion isn't loud. It's whispery. Discover 8 secret psychological signs. 1. Emotional mirroring. When a woman begins to fall for you on that deeper, quietly electric level, something almost invisible starts shifting beneath the surface, and you must pay attention because this shift is never accidental. It's the beginning of her emotional mirroring. The moment her inner world starts tuning itself to yours without her even realizing it, and whether you know it or not, this is where a high-value man either rises into his masculine energy or accidentally disrupts the rhythm that could attract women effortlessly. She starts matching your emotional wavelength as naturally as breathing. Your mood becomes her mood. Your calm becomes her calm. Your silence becomes a question she feels in the pit of her stomach. You laugh and she laughs, not because the joke is earth-shattering, but because your joy has become contagious to her. You retreat a little and suddenly she feels that quiet anxiety, that subtle emotional pull, as if her subconscious whispers, "Don't lose him." You open up even slightly, and just like that, she feels safe enough to peel back another layer of herself because something in you tells her, this is a man I can trust, and that is the silent power of masculine energy at work. Neuroscience calls this mirror neurons firing, but you don't need a lab coat to see what's happening. Her tone softens to match yours. Her gestures fall into rhythm with your own. Her expressions shift like a reflection in water, and without even trying, she begins speaking with your pacing, your cadence, your emotional colors. It's not imitation. Don't ever belittle it by assuming that. This is connection, pure, instinctive, raw. Her subconscious is learning you, absorbing you, syncing with you, not because she wants to copy you, but because she wants to feel you. That is the difference most men miss. She picks up your slang. She suddenly cares about the music you like. She responds in similar patterns, quicker when you're excited, slower when you're thoughtful. And if you think this is coincidence, don't. A woman only mirrors the emotional world she wants to live in, and she only syncs with the man whose presence is beginning to shape her own. This is where being a high-value man matters more than anything, because emotional mirroring hands you a quiet kind of power. Her emotional state becomes tied to yours. If you show up steady, grounded, intentional, she feels anchored. If you show up chaotic, distracted, volatile, she feels like the floor beneath her is shifting, and she won't even understand why. You must understand that mirroring is her subconscious stepping closer, saying without words, let me experience life at your frequency. This is how you attract women, not with noise or bravado, but with masculine energy that feels like direction, like clarity, like something she wants to merge with because it makes her feel more herself, not less. And don't misinterpret this as dependency. That is not what this is. It's resonance, a natural psychological phenomenon where two emotional systems begin to beat in the same rhythm. When she mirrors you, she's not losing herself. She's letting you influence the emotional atmosphere she breathes in. That is not small. That is not accidental. That is the earliest and clearest sign that her subconscious is no longer watching you from a distance. It's experiencing you, absorbing you, responding to you. Most men brush this off as politeness, as good manners, as coincidence. Don't be that man. Don't overlook the signs simply because they're soft. The female mind rarely announces fascination with trumpets. It whispers through reflection. When she mirrors your emotions, your behaviors, your subtle patterns, she's telling you she wants to enter your world and stay. And this is where your responsibility as a high-value man becomes non-negotiable. You must bring stability, not storms. You must bring clarity, not confusion. You must lead with the kind of masculine energy that doesn't overpower her but invites her into harmony. Because once she's emotionally tuned into you, your presence shapes her mood, your choices shape her security, and your energy shapes the direction of the relationship. Don't let that power go to waste. Don't misuse it. Recognize it. Honor it. Nurture it. Because emotional mirroring isn't just a sign she's secretly obsessed with you, it's the beginning of a bond that, if handled with strength and intention, can make her feel more alive, more understood, and more deeply connected to you than she ever expected. 2. Selective vulnerability. When a woman begins to feel emotionally tethered to you in that quiet, undeniable way, something subtle happens inside her, something she rarely lets the world see. Her voice softens, her eyes linger, her warmth becomes more deliberate, almost as if her heart is whispering before her mind can interfere. Don't mistake this for shyness. Don't treat it like coincidence. That is selective vulnerability, one of the most revealing signs within female psychology that she sees you not as just another man, but as someone she can finally exhale around. She isn't opening up to the world. She's opening up to you specifically, and that difference is everything. This is where psychology tricks aren't tricks at all. They're instincts unfolding in real time. She shows you small pieces of herself first. A fear she learned to hide. A dream she tucked away because life told her it was too big. An insecurity she tells no one, not even the best friend she trusts with everything else. When she begins revealing these layers, you must understand the weight of what's happening. This is not casual conversation. This isn't random honesty. This is trust in motion. This is female psychology at its most unguarded, its most intimate, its most sincere. And if you want to learn how to fall in love with a woman or understand when she's falling for you, this is the moment to watch. Scientists call it oxytocin, the bonding hormone, released during emotional sharing. But men don't need a microscope to feel its effects. Every vulnerable moment rewires her brain to associate you with safety. This is psychology tricks at the biological level. Her heart remembers the softness of your response. Her mind recalls the steadiness in your eyes. She notices not just what you say, but how you say it, your tone, your patience, your presence. And she stores it, almost like emotional evidence that you're a man she can depend on. She begins trusting you more deeply, not because you forced it or demanded it, but because you handled the first falling brick of her emotional wall with care instead of judgment. That is what women remember. Not whether you were impressive, not whether you were charming, but whether you were safe when she was soft. Female psychology is full of such quiet tests, not because she wants to play games, but because her vulnerability has been earned over a lifetime, and she refuses to hand it to the wrong man again. Here's what most men miss. When she opens up, she isn't asking for pity. Don't give her that. Don't shrink her strength by acting like she's fragile. She is not looking for someone to fix her. She is looking for someone to feel with her. She wants connection, resonance, understanding. She wants to know that when she steps into emotional truth, you don't step back in fear. You must meet her courage with your own. You must show her, in your words and your silence, that her vulnerability is not a burden, but an invitation. And if you mishandle it, if you dismiss it, minimize it, or overlook it, you don't just miss the moment. You break the bond. But if you handle it well, if you hold her truth the way you'd hold something precious, something irreplaceable, something alive, she will remember that. She will replay it. She will lean into it again and again because now she knows, this is a man who sees me. And that realization, in the realm of female psychology, is one of the deepest pathways into how to fall in love. Selective vulnerability isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It arrives in moments that feel accidental but aren't. It's in the way she lets you see her without makeup. It's in the way she tells you about her childhood dreams as if they still matter. It's in the confession that something hurt her more than she expected. It's in the quiet tremor of her voice when she wants reassurance, but is too proud to ask. Don't ignore these signs. Don't rush past them. They are the emotional breadcrumbs leading to her heart. You must treat her vulnerability like the rare access it is. Be steady. Be present. Be the man who listens without trying to win, who understands without needing to dominate, who knows that strength isn't louder than her feelings, it's quieter, calmer, more grounded. Because when a woman chooses selective vulnerability with you, she's not giving you weakness. She's giving you trust. And that is the gateway to connection, intimacy, devotion, and the deeper kind of love most men claim they want but aren't prepared to hold. Handle her truth with care. It's the most valuable thing she will ever offer you. So, if you understand the power of selective vulnerability, if you see what it really means when a woman lets you into the private corners of her heart, then claim it right now. Comment this below so it locks into your mindset. I protect what chooses to trust me. Hit that like button, subscribe for more psychological mastery, and remember, how you respond in her vulnerable moments defines the kind of man you truly are. 3. Selective attention. When a woman begins to trust you on an emotional level, her entire perceptual world shifts, and you must understand the shift with the precision of Old Stoic wisdom, because selective attention is not accidental, it is a psychological spotlight. And when that spotlight lands on you, everything about the dynamic changes. She listens more closely. She studies your words, your habits, your moods, and without announcing it, she begins absorbing information about you that even you overlook and does. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," which means when her thoughts begin centering around you, you become part of the color of her inner world. So don't dismiss these signals, don't underestimate them. And don't overlook what they reveal. She remembers stray comments you barely recall making. She asks questions that prove she's been replaying your conversations. She notices subtle changes in your energy like a radar tuned specifically to your emotional frequency. And this is not coincidence. This is psychology. This is emotional imprinting. This is her mind prioritizing what it perceives as significant. And you must treat significance with respect because significance is influence. When her dopamine spikes every time she sees your name pop up on her screen, when she checks her messages more often than she will ever confess, when she feels elevated when you respond and unsettled when you go quiet, that is her subconscious attaching value to you, and value is the beginning of obsession. So understand the power of this shift, own the responsibility of this shift, and don't misuse it. In modern life, where attention is fractured and everyone's focus is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, the fact that her attention narrows toward you is not a small sign. It is a major psychological event because selective attention is expensive. Selective attention costs energy, and people only spend energy on what matters deeply to them. As Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And when she imagines you during her day, wondering how you feel, what you meant, whether your silence is intentional, that imagination reveals emotional investment, and emotional investment is the seed of devotion. So don't play small with this knowledge. Don't treat it casually, and don't fall asleep at the wheel of influence. Recognize that when she prioritizes you emotionally, you are entering her internal rhythm, becoming part of her mental landscape, a presence she carries with her everywhere she goes. And that is why you must embody Stoicism win. Because a man who becomes the center of a woman's emotional attention must have an iron mind, steady, disciplined, unshaken by mood swings, calmly confident in his direction. Don't let her attention inflate your ego. Let it refine your discipline. Let it sharpen your standards. Let it remind you that leadership in relationships is earned through consistency, clarity, and emotional control. Modern life demands this level of mastery because distractions weaken men, overstimulation weakens men, and a woman's selective attention is a test. She watches how you carry yourself under pressure. She watches how you respond when she pulls closer. She watches the strength of your boundaries, and as Epictetus taught, control what you can. Endure what you must, because self-control is the foundation of attraction and emotional endurance is the foundation of trust. Don't lose yourself simply because she is drawn to you. Instead, let her attention motivate you. Let it fortify your resolve. Let it push you toward becoming the kind of man who moves through the world with an iron mind and the steadiness of Old Stoic wisdom. That is the path of the man who wins. Stoicism win in relationships. Stoicism win in life. Stoicism win in personal mastery. Remember this. Selective attention is not just a sign she's secretly obsessed. It is a psychological strategy. Her mind reorganizing its priorities around you. And when you recognize this with clarity, you gain the advantage, you gain the insight. And you gain the power to build something stronger, deeper, and more intentional. In a world full of noise, her focus is a prize, her emotional trust is an honor, and her investment is a responsibility. So step into that responsibility with strength, with discipline, with purpose, and don't let anything, fear, insecurity, hesitation, distract you from the reality that you must lead. You must act with conviction. You must embody the man she believes you are becoming, because when you do that, you don't just attract her attention, you command her respect, and in the game of modern relationships, respect is the ultimate victory. 4. Emotional dependency and subtle jealousy. When a woman crosses the invisible threshold from casual interest to deep emotional pull, her entire inner world starts responding to you in real time. And you must pay attention because this is where simple attraction quietly transforms into emotional dependency. Don't mistake her subtle shifts for coincidence. Be aware. That is the moment her subconscious starts attaching itself to your presence like a silent magnet. One of the first clues is subtle jealousy, not the dramatic, movie scene kind, but a tiny tremor in her tone, a slightly sharper breath, a soft tightening in her expression whenever another woman enters your orbit. It's mate guarding, pure and primal, rooted in the fear that losing a man who embodies true masculine energy would feel like losing emotional safety itself. A high-value man doesn't seek validation, he simply notices. And when you notice the way she reacts, you begin to understand that she is revealing her heart long before she confesses anything out loud. That small flicker of jealousy is not manipulation. It's transparency leaking through the cracks of her self-control, a sign that you don't just attract women, you affect her at the deepest psychological level. As her attachment grows, she begins projecting a future onto you without even realizing she's doing it. Future vacations, shared routines, hypotheticals about someday, casual comments that carry emotional weight. This is not fantasy. It is her subconscious calculating long-term emotional security and quietly nominating you as the man who fits that role. Don't overlook it. Be the one who understands the significance. A woman only imagines the future with a man whose presence calms her nervous system and ignites her desire simultaneously, a man radiating masculine energy, a high-value man who knows who he is, what he stands for, and how he moves through the world. When she starts placing you into the blueprint of her life, that is not a random thought, it is a confession without words. You must recognize that this is the part where her emotional dependency deepens, not because she is weak, but because connection is her nature. Women bond through emotional anchoring, and when you become that anchor, her inner world shifts its orbit toward you. Another hidden psychological sign is the way she suddenly puts more effort into her appearance around you. Don't underestimate this. Women don't beautify themselves for men they don't care about. They dress up because their emotions seek alignment. She wants the outer version of herself to match the inner excitement you trigger. This isn't about approval. It's about emotional resonance. Her subconscious whispers, "Look your best," "He matters," and her actions obey. A high-value man will notice these details without bragging about them because when you truly attract women, you understand the language of their behavior long before they speak. The observant. That is the difference between a man who gets lucky and a man who understands the female mind. But the most revealing sign is what happens when you pull back ever so slightly. Don't play games, just live your life with purpose and watch her emotional response activate. When she feels your absence, even for a moment, her attachment system wakes up. She becomes a little more attentive, a little more curious about your day, a little more eager to know where your mind is wandering. She may not voice the discomfort directly, because pride and softness battle inside her, but make no mistake, she feels the emotional disruption. Be calm. You must understand that this is not a sign of desperation. This is a sign of emotional investment. When a woman cares, she notices shifts in your energy faster than you notice changes in the weather. That quiet need for reassurance, even if she disguises it behind humor, sarcasm, or playful comments, is her heart knocking on the door of your presence asking, "Are you still with me?" And don't misread these signs as manipulation. They are not tactics. They are transparency. Women reveal themselves through emotional cues long before they reveal themselves through words. When she displays subtle jealousy, imagines a future with you, enhances her appearance for your sake, or feels uneasy when you withdraw, she is telling you, in the only language her subconscious knows, that you have become emotionally important. And if you are a man striving to embody masculine energy, if you aim to be a high value man who knows how to attract women naturally and effortlessly, you must learn to read these moments with insight rather than ego. Don't dismiss them. Don't abuse them. Be grounded, be intentional, be aware. That is how you honor the connection while holding your power. 5. The crossroads of influence. When a woman's emotions begin to circle around you, quietly, intensely, almost like a soft storm forming on the horizon, you must understand that you are standing at a powerful crossroads. Don't underestimate this moment. That is the place where male intention meets female psychology, where her subtle fascination can turn into something deeper, stronger, and far more binding. And here's the truth. How you respond will decide whether her obsession evolves into healthy attachment or slips into emotional confusion. Be aware. You must see that her obsession isn't just casual attraction, it is emotional exposure. It's vulnerability dressed in confidence. It is, in its purest form, a woman trusting you with a part of her identity that she doesn't hand out lightly. In her own silent way, she is offering you the psychological access code to her inner world. Some men misuse it. Don't be that man. You must handle this moment with emotional integrity, because this is where psychology tricks stop being tricks and start becoming responsibilities. This is where female psychology reveals that a woman doesn't fall for a man through logic. She falls through emotional safety, consistency, and the energy he brings into her life. If you want to understand how to fall in love, understand this. Love is built on trust, and trust is built on behavior. Be calm. Be intentional. Be the man who stands in his own presence without shaking. Led with calm confidence, because women read emotional energy like a sixth sense. They can feel when a man has his life together, and they can feel when he doesn't. A steady man creates steady love. A grounded man invites a grounded connection. Stay consistent, not perfect, just reliable. Consistency is the invisible language of devotion in female psychology. It's the message that says, you can lean here. I won't disappear when it matters. Don't send mixed signals. Don't be unpredictable to get attention. Avoid emotional highs and lows disguised as passion. That is not how to fall in love. That is how to destroy trust before it forms. A woman who begins to obsess over you is giving you her emotional attention, and emotional attention is the most expensive currency she owns. Treat it with respect. If you truly want to master psychology tricks, here's the greatest one. Create emotional safety. Not by being soft or passive, but by being steady in your truth. Speak clearly. Don't mumble through your intentions. Don't hide behind games. Don't pretend you don't care when you do. Emotional safety is built through honesty spoken with calm masculine certainty. When you communicate directly, you activate something powerful in female psychology. You give her nervous system permission to relax. When a woman feels safe, obsession transforms into devotion. When she feels uncertain, obsession becomes anxiety. You must choose which path you lead her toward. Avoid games. Don't weaponize silence. Don't manipulate her reactions just to see how much she cares. That is the behavior of boys, not men. A woman who is emotionally circling you is already showing you how to fall in love. She is offering emotional transparency, vulnerability, and possibility. Don't break what she is building. Dames poison attraction faster than rejection ever could. If you want a woman to trust you with her heart, show her that she never needs to question your intention. Speak truthfully and clearly. Words are anchors when used well and weapons when misused. A woman listens not just to what you say, but how you say it. She hears the strength under your tone, the conviction behind your statements, the emotional stability in your pauses. This is where the real psychology tricks live, in clarity, certainty, and presence. The more truthful you are, the more she trusts herself around you, and that trust deepens the emotional imprint you leave on her. Because at this crossroads, where her obsession meets your influence, your role becomes very clear. Be the anchor, not the storm. The anchor keeps her grounded. The storm pulls her apart. The anchor shows her stability. The storm shows her chaos. Women don't fall in love with chaos, they fall into survival mode. But when a woman feels anchored, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, she gives a kind of loyalty that no game, no trick, and no manipulation can ever replicate. In the end, if you want to understand how to fall in love, understand what steadiness feels like to a woman. Emotional stability is attraction. Integrity is chemistry. Clarity is connection. Consistency is devotion. When you bring these qualities into her life, you create the space for her obsession to evolve beyond excitement into something far deeper, a quiet, radiant devotion rooted in trust. Be the anchor. Don't be the storm. That is where influence becomes intimacy. That is where attraction becomes attachment. That is where she doesn't just want you, she chooses you. If this opened your eyes, like the video, drop a comment and share it with a man who needs this message. And don't forget to subscribe for more real insight into the female mind. Comment to remember, be the anchor, not the storm. 6. Where real connection begins. A woman's deep attraction begins long before she ever admits it, and understanding this truth gives you an advantage rooted in Old Stoic wisdom, because real connection isn't built on charm, appearance, or empty lines. It's built on the emotional safety you create through presence, clarity, and an iron mind. When a woman feels understood, protected, and emotionally aligned with you, her behavior shifts in subtle psychological ways that reveal she's far more invested than she lets on, and as Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, meaning your mindset shapes the entire dynamic. Don't get distracted by surface signals. Don't chase validation. Focus instead on creating the emotional environment where her interest naturally deepens. In today's world, where people are overstimulated, attention spans fade fast, and authentic connection feels rare, your ability to stay grounded, calm, and intentional becomes magnetic. That is how you create the psychological conditions where desire transforms into loyalty. You must remember, women respond not to noise, but to emotional certainty, not to chaos, but to consistency, not to pressure, but to presence. Where there is love, there is life, Gandhi once said, and although modern dating often feels like a battlefield of confusion, the principles of Stoicism win because they keep you steady when others collapse into insecurity. A woman becomes secretly obsessed not through manipulation, but through the emotional energy you embody, your discipline, your clarity, your calm strength, your refusal to be shaken by mood or circumstance. Let's be clear, emotional safety does not mean weakness. It means you understand her inner world with precision. It means you listen with intention. It means you create a space where she can reveal her truth without fear. That is rare. That is powerful. That is what awakens deeper instincts within her. And when she senses this depth in you, she evolves with you, because women attach through emotion, alignment, and shared growth. Don't underestimate this. Don't overlook the silent signals. Don't allow doubt to distort what your intuition already knows. As the old Stoic wisdom teaches, self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. When you master yourself, you become the safe harbor in a world full of storms, and she feels it immediately. You must develop an iron mind, unshakable, steady, and anchored, because women are naturally drawn to men who hold emotional structure, men who remain composed while others crumble, men who lead with purpose instead of insecurity. In a modern dating culture filled with games and confusion, clarity becomes a superpower. Purpose becomes a magnet. Emotional intelligence becomes irresistible. That is why your focus must be on becoming the man who generates devotion naturally, not the man who tries to force attraction artificially. Don't fall into the trap of overanalyzing her words while ignoring her emotional cues. Instead, pay attention to the subtle signals, the way she mirrors your energy, the way she invests effort, the way she seeks your presence even without asking. These micro behaviors reveal far more than any scripted line ever could. As Carl Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. When you offer the emotional steadiness she craves, she transforms, and so do you. That transformation is where real connection begins, not an obsession, but an emotional harmony that turns desire into devotion. Let's speak plainly, women don't want perfection, they want growth. They want a man who leads himself first, who stays disciplined, who embodies Stoicism win through his actions, not his words. And when she sees that, her psychology shifts from uncertainty to fascination, from curiosity to investment, from interest to attachment. You must become the man who represents stability in a world lacking it. You must become the man who listens deeply and acts decisively. You must become the man who stands firm in his values while still offering emotional warmth. That is the combination that captures a woman's heart without force, without pressure, only through presence, strength, and emotional skill. Let this be your guiding principle. Master yourself, and you naturally master your connections. Build an iron mind, and you naturally create emotional safety. Live by Old Stoic wisdom, and you naturally attract the kind of woman who doesn't just desire you, she evolves with you. This is how you win. This is how you rise. This is how you create a connection that lasts. 7. When she prioritizes you without realizing it. When a woman begins to prioritize you without even noticing she's doing it, you're witnessing one of the strongest hidden psychological signs that she's quietly becoming obsessed, and most men miss it because it doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives in tiny shifts that speak louder than words. She starts adjusting her schedule in ways she can't logically explain, rearranging her routines, bending time that she normally guards with her life, just to orbit a little closer to you. Don't dismiss this. Don't pretend it's casual. In female psychology, nothing about priority is random. That is emotional investment rising like a tide beneath her own awareness, a pull she feels before she admits it. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do, and when she repeatedly chooses you, it stops being coincidence and becomes emotional momentum. A woman doesn't alter her rhythm unless something or someone has begun to move her at a level she can't ignore. You must see this for what it is, the mind revealing what the mouth won't yet say. She may tell you she's just free, but you know better. Time is the most expensive thing a modern woman owns, especially in a world constantly tugging at her attention, and she's spending it on you without hesitation. That's not convenience. That's attraction. That's her instinct tuning itself to your presence, because your masculine energy feels like a steady force she can lean into. Don't take it for granted. Don't lose your center. A high-value man never collapses under the weight of her interest. He holds his frame. He stays emotionally grounded, and he lets her deepen her investment naturally, without pressure, without bragging, without performing. Be the calm eye in her storm of daily chaos. Be the man who makes her feel safe enough to shift her world. When she reorganizes her day for you, when she delays her errands just to hear your voice, when she responds faster, shows up sooner, or appears exactly where you are without needing an invitation, understand the psychology at play. She's making room for you in her life long before she confesses she wants you in her future. And here's the twist. She may not even realize she's doing it, but women rarely prioritize a man who doesn't amplify their emotional world. That is why staying grounded, intentional, and unshakable is your greatest advantage. You must show her, not through speeches, but through presence, that you are worth the space she's giving you. This is how you attract women effortlessly, not through chasing, but through embodying a high-value man with masculine energy that stands firm instead of bending to impress. When she shifts her time, she's testing whether you're worthy of more. When she alters her habits, she's signaling that your importance is rising. And when she does all of this quietly, almost subtly, that's the clearest sign of a growing obsession, the kind she guards, the kind she nurtures silently, the kind that only reveals itself to a man who knows how to read between the lines. Don't ignore the signs. Don't downplay them. Recognize the privilege of being chosen in a world where attention is scarce and genuine priority is rare. In today's noisy, distracted reality, when a woman crafts space for you in her already crowded life, that is the ultimate proof that she feels drawn to your masculine energy, that she sees your value, and that her heart is beginning to tilt in your direction. Remember this: a high-value man doesn't chase priority, he inspires it. And if she's rearranging her life for you, she's telling you, quietly, beautifully, and unintentionally, that you matter more than she's ready to admit. 8. When she tests your emotional stability. One of the most misunderstood hidden signs that she's secretly obsessed with you is this: she tests your emotional stability. Most men take these moments personally, as if she's trying to start trouble or stir unnecessary drama, but don't make that mistake. Don't misread the signal. In reality, female psychology works in quiet, subtle layers, and testing isn't an attack, it's instinct. That is how she evaluates whether your inner world is strong enough to hold space for hers. She doesn't do it consciously. She doesn't plan it like some strategic game. This is one of those deep-seated psychology tricks built into her wiring, a natural way she measures whether the man in front of her carries the emotional backbone she needs to feel safe, desired, and connected. Women want to know how to fall in love without falling into chaos, and emotional stability is the compass they use. She will test you in small ways, almost invisible unless you know what to look for. Maybe she replies a little slower than usual, just to see whether you remain composed or crumble into anxiety. Maybe her tone shifts for a moment, or she asks a question with two meanings to watch which one you choose. Maybe, without warning, she creates a little distance, not because she wants to push you away, but because she wants to see how solid you remain when the ground moves beneath your feet. That is female psychology working quietly beneath the surface. That is her heart checking whether your presence is strong enough to trust. Don't overreact. Don't panic. Don't let insecurity take the steering wheel. This is the moment where many men lose themselves, abandoning confidence in favor of impulsive messages, emotional outbursts, or frantic attempts to fix something that was never broken. You must not fall into that trap. You must hold your center. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That quote wasn't written to sound poetic, it was written to tell you the truth about masculine power. A man who cannot command his own emotions cannot command any situation. A man who reacts instead of responds becomes predictable, unstable, and unworthy of deeper trust. This is where psychology tricks, female psychology, and ancient masculine wisdom intersect. Women instinctively gravitate toward men who handle pressure with grace. Not perfection, grace. When you stay calm, when you breathe, when you maintain your tone instead of matching hers, she feels it in her nervous system. Your steadiness becomes a presence. Your presence becomes comfort. And comfort, when paired with masculine certainty, becomes attraction. Strong attraction. This is how to fall in love from a female perspective, slowly, steadily, through observing the way you show up when things are not easy. Understand this. She isn't looking for a man who never feels anything. She's looking for a man who doesn't drown in his own emotions. A man who can experience frustration without weaponizing it. A man who can feel confusion without acting like he's lost. A man who remains grounded even when tested by silence, shifts, or uncertainty. That is the man who becomes unforgettable. That is the man who stands out among all the noise. That is the man she becomes quietly obsessed with. Women test not because they want control, but because they want clarity. They want to know if your strength is real or just a performance. Anyone can be confident when everything is smooth, but only a man with genuine emotional sovereignty can stay composed when the energy shifts. Don't underestimate how deeply women feel these moments. They remember how you handled the small things. They store those reactions like data points. Every calm response builds trust. Every grounded decision builds safety. Every moment of steadiness builds intimacy. When she realizes she cannot shake you, even slightly, something powerful awakens in her. Her respect grows. Her admiration deepens. Her fascination widens. because now she sees you not just as a desirable man, but as a dependable one. A man with inner architecture, a man with direction, a man she can lean into instead of manage. In female psychology, that shift is monumental. It changes the way she speaks to you, the way she looks at you, the way she imagines the future with you. And without even meaning to, her obsession becomes stronger, deeper, and far more lasting. So be the man who remains solid when she tests your surface. Be the man who chooses patience over panic. Be the man who proves strength without raising his voice. Don't let temporary emotion destroy long-term connection. Remember, a woman tests not to break you, but to discover whether your foundation is real. And when she finds out it is, that is when true desire begins. That is when curiosity becomes attraction. That is when attraction transforms into emotional loyalty. And that, my friend, is how to fall in love from the inside out, quiet, powerful, undeniable. If you found value in this video, go ahead and drop a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another insight into the female mind and modern psychology. And if you want to give feedback, ask questions, or talk about any of the signs we covered today, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. I read every one of them. Until next time, stay confident, stay intentional, and remember, your energy is always your greatest asset.